welcome to Dating Drama Debunked. I would love for you to decide now what it is you want to get from today, and if you feel comfortable, certainly share that in the comments. We're going to run for an hour, so this is a big investment of your time, right? And I'd really love you to be clear, like, what do you want to have learned when you get to the end of this hour? What do you want to take away from this? What is your desired outcome, right? So what we'll do next is we're going to do a meditation, and this is a really beautiful heart-opening meditation, right? You don't need me to tell you that we're going through some shit right now. Like, it is not easy in the world right now, and so we're going to do a meditation just to really ground in, anchor in, and also open up our hearts. So why don't we go into that first? And about you, I feel like I could do with some grounding and some meditations. Let's start with that. So get yourself comfy, feet flat on the floor, hands wherever is comfortable on top of your knees. And when you're ready, allow your eyes to close. Deep breath in and out. Breathing in and out. Final deep breath in. Holding at the top, 2, 3, 4, and letting go. Beautiful. Quickly scanning your body now, bringing your attention to any area of your body where there may be some tension, some discomfort, even some pain. Bringing your attention to that part of your body and just allowing it to relax a little more. Allowing all of your body to soften and relax and deepen as we go into this relaxation process. And bring your attention now to the soles of your feet, as you see roots growing out from the bottom of the soles of your feet. Those roots going down into the earth, down through the foundations of the building that you're in, down into the soil, down through the layers of rock and soil and sediment. Those roots going down deeper and deeper and deeper, down into the earth. Those roots reaching the center of the earth and wrapping around the earth's core. You are now grounded below. If there's anything you need today, anything at all, whether that is peace, comfort, clarity, reassurance, energy, feeling calm, whatever that is, you can request that now of the earth. Request that you receive that. And what it is that you've requested, we're going to give that a colour. What colour is it? Any colour. It can be multicoloured, different shades and tones. And watch now as that colour seeps through the bottom of those roots from the centre of the earth. Makes its way up through those roots, gently, easily, without any effort from you. Just like ink makes its way through blotting paper, that colour seeping up through those roots, up higher and higher and higher, until it reaches the soles of your feet. And that beautiful energy now making its way up through your feet, up through your ankles, your shins, your calves, the lower part of your leg, up through your knees, up through your thighs and your hamstrings, up through your hips, up through your stomach, up through your lower back, the upper part of your back, over your shoulders and down your chest. That beautiful energy now making its way down your arms, through the muscles and the skeletal systems, seeping its way through, down through your elbows, down through your forearms, your wrists, your hands, your fingers, your fingertips, the pads of your fingers and your fingernails. Notice as this beautiful energy now makes its way up through your neck, up into your face, through your jaw, up into your cheeks, your mouth, your tongue, your lips, your nose, your eyes, through your forehead and down through every strand of hair on your head. Now at the top of your head there is a crown. We're going to open up that crown now, opening it up to the sky. Asking that any information that needs to come through today, any realizations, any clarity, that will come through. Opening that up now as divine wisdom enters through your crown, down into your third eye, falling down into your throat, and falling and settling now into the center of your chest, into your heart space. Allowing that wisdom to drop in there. You may be aware of it and you may not, and either way is perfect. And now you notice at the center of your chest, you notice a lotus flower. Only it's not a flower yet, it's a bud, it's a flower bud. You might want to just lean back in your chair as you witness and notice that bud start to open gradually, piece by piece, petal by petal. So that beautiful lotus flower in your heart space opens, opening out, breathing into that feeling, breathing out. Noticing what you notice as that flower opens. Are there any sensations in your body? Any emotions that are coming up? Is there any resistance or is there a welcoming to this process? Notice what you notice. Feel what you feel. I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths here and then we're going to come back. Taking a deep breath in and out. Breathing in and out. And another deep breath in. And let it go. Gradually moving your fingers and your toes. You might want to just roll your shoulders back. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome back, gorgeous ones. I hope you're feeling good and relaxed and centered and ready to move forward. So let's crack on. So before we get started, I'm assuming you've all met me before, but if you haven't, I'm Cheryl Muir. I work as the relationship pattern interrupter, and what I do is I help busy professional women overcome their dating drama fast. And I do that through 3 steps, and I'm going to go through those steps with you today. I do that primarily through private coaching and also through courses. So we're going to go through those 3 steps today. Before we get started, like properly started, a quick caveat. I guess what I want to say really is that I'm fully aware that this is not the most important thing that's going on in the world right now. Fully aware of that. What's happening is very, very real, very scary for a lot of us. We've never experienced anything like this before in our lifetimes, right? So none of us really know what to expect, and that can be really unsettling and destabilizing and all these things. And I hope that, you know, the meditation we did really grounded you into the earth and got you all settled. And the reason I say I know that what I'm doing today isn't the most important thing in the world is because what you may be finding as you're in lockdown is you may be finding that you have a lot of feelings come up. And if you have relationship stuff, if you have dating drama, if you have really unhealthy relationship patterns, you may be starting to feel it more than you usually would. And you may feel guilty about that. You may feel, well, who am I to be having these feelings when there's other things going on in the world right now? And I just want to really give you permission to feel what you feel and to be going through what you're going through and to look at what you're going through. Because if that's coming up for you right now, that's what you need to look at. And regardless of everything that's going on in the world right now, it is what's going on in your internal world, and what you feel is valid, right? It's valid. Throughout this whole experience that we've been having with the coronavirus and with lockdown and various things, you know, I have been speaking to it quite a lot. But I'm not going to speak to that today. This is just going to be a place for dating drama and healing your relationship stuff. And that's what we're going to focus on. That just feels like the best way that I can be of service to you. And I hope that it really, really helps you. So let's get started. So what I'd love for you to do is to get your journal and your pen. If you don't have that, then if you're at your computer, then just get up a Word document, because we're going to need to make some notes. Each step that I go through, like I said, it'll have a little bit of theory, and it will also have some journaling prompts. Journaling prompts are really, really powerful because it's basically you being able to coach yourself. It's you being able to be your own relationship pattern interrupter, and that's a really, really powerful thing, right? It's a really powerful thing for you to be able to get to the bottom of what's going on for you. And my intention today is for you to have some breakthroughs and some clarity on what it is that's been keeping you stuck in love. So you probably all know my 3 steps already. If you've seen some of my content, it's probably not going to be a shock and a spoiler, but let's get cracking with step number 1. So what is step number 1? In fact, let's just take one quick step back here. I'm feeling called to just explain quickly. What do we mean by dating drama? Dating drama is any pain that you might feel, any discomfort you might feel, any really unhealthy, dysfunctional, toxic patterns that you might have when it comes to love and dating and romantic relationships. It can look like having partners who are not available to you, choosing people who are not choosing you, always liking someone who's, you know, taken, they're not single, experiencing the same kind of pain over and over in love, repeatedly over a number of years. This is not just, oh, I had one bad relationship and it was hard. This has been my reality through my entire life, and I don't know what to do about it. And I was there in my 20s. In fact, from, I would say, the age of about, when do you really become aware of this and start dating people? Probably the age of about 14, 15. It became really obvious to me that relationships were very, very difficult for me indeed. And it continued all throughout my mid-20s until I went into therapy in my mid-20s and started to unpick some things. And that was 10 years ago when I started that process. And from all of that counselling and coaching and, you know, retreats, courses, you name it, that I've done, I've really designed this process that I'm going to take you through today. But more than anything, what I want to say to you is I thought this is just going to be my reality. Like, I'm always going to be in this. I'm never going to be able to be out of this cycle, and I am. And it's amazing. And even though I'm not in a relationship right now, and that's very much been a choice, I am dating. And what's really, really beautiful is dating is a very, very different experience than it used to be. It's joyful, it's fun, it's spontaneous, it makes me feel alive, it's exciting, and it's also a tiny, tiny pie slice of my day. It's not something that consumes every waking thought. There's an abundance of partners that we're all compatible with, and we don't have to attach ourselves to one person, right? So dating, when you've healed these relationship patterns and this dating drama, it's a very different experience, and it feels really freeing. So if you're thinking, I'm stuck in these patterns, I'm never going to get out of it, please don't feel that way. If I can get through it, anyone can, because I was very, very entrenched in these patterns. So let's take you through the steps. Step number 1 is, and maybe you can write this down, step 1, what is the pattern? What is the pattern? So you might think, I know what the fucking pattern is. I know what my patterns are in love, but let's get really, really clear. And what I'm going to do is go through some of my archetypes. I've designed the 6 dating drama archetypes, and I'm not going to go through all of them in lots of detail because I actually have a video on my YouTube about this, and I'll link that down below. And you can go and watch that, you know, in your own time and really dive into the archetypes. But I've really identified 6 major dating drama archetypes. I have been in all of these at some point, some more than others. Some I've just kind of slipped into for, you know, a couple of relationships. Others have been very chronic patterns. So none of this comes from a place of judgment at all. I very much know these patterns because I've been in them. So the first archetype is Miss Clingy. Miss Clingy is someone who really clings to partners, very needy, very codependent, it's very unsettling for her when the object of her affection isn't returning that affection, isn't texting back, isn't booking the next date, all of that, right? Very, very painful. And when that doesn't happen, when the partner pulls away, she will push forward, right? She will cling, she will chase. The second archetype is Miss Obsessed. Bit of overlap with Miss Clingy, but Miss Obsessed is completely consumed by the thoughts of this person. This person will completely consume every waking thought. She will be thinking about him or her throughout the day. She will lose sense of who she is within the love she has for this person. I mean, it's not really love because it's a very dysfunctional kind of love, but she is solely focused on the object of her affection, right? The next one is Miss Fantasy Relationship. Again, some overlap from the previous one because these are sequential and they build on each other. Miss Fantasy Relationship. Now, I know this pattern very, very well. I don't know if you guys know what a fandom is, but back in the day, I used to be very much involved in fandom, writing fan fiction. Now, this is like next level fantasy relationship stuff, right? Writing about, and there's a whole community, by the way, that's built around this. So it's very much not just relationship pattern stuff. It was like I got this community of people who I could interact with, who are on my wavelength. It was a whole thing, and it was really meeting needs. And it's really, by the way, it's really, really difficult to stop any of these patterns until we really understand what need it's meeting, and we'll touch on this. Because if it's meeting a need, it's very unlikely you're going to stop it, right? So with Miss Fantasy Relationship, you know, I was certainly very involved in this, in getting heavily involved in fantasy scenarios where either I didn't know the person was based on something from TV or film, like very fictional, which I know might sound really next level, but this is actually really, really, really common. Fandom is big business. Comic cons are big business, right? But what that can look like in a real day-to-day sense is you meet someone, you like them, and next thing you're planning not just the next date, you're planning in your head, oh, we're getting married, we're having kids, you're naming your first 3 children and planning what that's going to look like. You're getting in this fantasy space of what it could be like to go on holiday with them, to spend Christmas with them, to meet their family and their friends, and you're like really getting ahead of yourself when that hasn't really manifested in reality yet, right? So that's Miss Fantasy Relationship. 3 more left. Miss Drama. Does what it says in the tin. Love and relationships and dating becomes a very, very dramatic affair. So maybe you date the bad boys or the bad girls, right? The people who you know are no good for you. You keep dating them, or you know, you're dating someone and then, oh, the next person, they've cheated again and it keeps happening. Or you've dated someone and, oh my God, I can't believe he has a girlfriend. But it's like, it's not just one person. Obviously, we can't take ownership of someone else's behavior and choices, but if we keep experiencing this over and over again, it's a pattern and it's worth looking at this. So with Miss Drama, love is very dramatic and she actually gets a lot of attention from that. I went into this in more detail in a video on my YouTube recently, so I won't dive into it super deep here. But again, with the needs thing, with Miss Drama, a need is getting met. So when we don't have that need for connection met, when we're not connecting with someone deeply, we feel isolated and lonely, which is very, very relevant right now. if we can't have that connection and that love, that healthy love in a healthy, interdependent way, what we'll do is we'll go and we'll get significance instead. So you know those rice pot experiments by Dr. Emoto? Do you remember those? Where there's one pot of rice and they pray to it and it flourishes. There's another pot of rice where they say bad things to it and it kind of, you know, rots and festers. And then there's the third pot of rice that they completely ignore, and that turns out the worst. It's even worse than the pot of rice where you're saying bad things to it. You know the experiment I'm talking about? Does everyone know what I mean? You can Google Dr. Emoto and the rice experiments. And they've done this with glasses of water too. It's an energetic thing. But the point with this is, energetically and emotionally, the worst thing you can do to someone is ignore them. The worst thing you can do is to not see them, not hear them, etc. So when we feel unseen and unheard and we're not getting connection met in a healthy way, what we will do is we will kick up and cause a fuss and cause drama, because that is a way of at least being seen, even if it's negative. Negative attention in a child wounded way. Negative attention is better than no attention. So that's where Miss Drama comes from. It's really this desire to get attention, and that gets met in a really unhealthy way. The fifth archetype is Miss Selfie. Miss Selfie usually is someone who looks really, really beautiful. She looks great, but she's a little self-obsessed. She's a little narcissistic. She's always posting pictures of herself and being like, how cute do I look? She might not be saying those words, but it's that kind of vibe. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I actually had a workshop that I ran in Bristol where I actually met someone who really embodied this archetype fully. And it was really, really interesting. And at the end of the workshop, which we'll do today as well, I asked everyone, what was your biggest takeaway today? And she shared that her biggest takeaway was that she said, oh, I'm not the problem. What I've learned is that everyone else has problems, but I don't. And that is really the epitome of Miss Selfie. She doesn't think anyone else has the problem. She really doesn't have much ownership over her part in it. So if that's you and you feel like, you know what, I'm kind of like that sometimes, then let's just check our egos at the door. Again, I've been through this myself. I've experienced it myself. So let's check our egos at the door and just be really open to what we don't know, and also be courageous enough to really face our own patterns. You know, again, we can't take ownership of other people's actions. Of course we can't. And we can take ownership of what we've done and what we find as being the common denominator in our own lives. So the sixth and final relationship pattern, dating drama archetype, is Miss Lone Wolf. Miss Lone Wolf is fiercely independent. She is proudly self-made, and she doesn't accept help from anyone, you know, and she's very proud of that. She's proud that she can do it all on her own. Now, we're going to get into where this comes from in a moment, but what I'd really love for us all to just witness for a second is that this comes from somewhere, and where Miss Lone Wolf comes from is needing to have been really strong at a time in your life when you needed support. So you went through something that was very difficult, very traumatic, you asked for help and didn't receive it, and as a result of that, you had to pick yourself up by your own bootstraps, and you had to overcome, and you had to be resilient, and you got through it, which is commendable, that's great. But what it did was it formed this belief of, no one's going to be there, there's no point asking anyway, and besides, I'm strong and I can do it myself. So while there is some commendability in being resilient, really this inability to ask for help and this being dysfunctionally independent and pushing people away is really not healthy. It's the complete opposite of Miss Clingy, right? Miss Clingy is, I'm going to cling to you, I can't be without you. Miss Lone Wolf is, I'm fine on my own, I don't need anyone. Both of those are unhealthy. And we want to be somewhere in the middle, right? Where we have this healthy interdependence, not only with our romantic partners, but with everyone else in our lives. It's interesting to me that Miss Clingy and Miss Lone Wolf can switch. So Miss Lone Wolf can become Miss Clingy when she's in relationships. And you might think, well, how can that be? Because they're opposites. It's because Miss Lone Wolf has an unhealthy attachment style, and she doesn't have the healthy model for relating to people. And so when she gets into a relationship, she short circuits a little bit, doesn't know what it looks like, and clings, right? She either pushes or clings and goes either way, right? So those are the 6 dating drama archetypes: Miss Clingy, Miss Obsessed, Miss Fantasy Relationship, Miss Drama, Miss Selfie, and Miss Lone Wolf. Which of those did seem familiar to you? Did one seem familiar? Did many seem familiar? Did they all seem familiar? Or for all of them, were you like, yeah, none of these really apply to me? Either way is perfect. Which one though do you feel is most like you? Which one are you in the most often? And just write that down for me. You can also pop it in the comments if you're on live or on the replay. So which one are you in most often? For me, the pattern that's been the most difficult to break has been Miss Lone Wolf, actually. The other ones I've been able to overcome quite easily, and the Lone Wolf one has been the one that I've had to work on the most. So let's get to these journaling prompts, shall we? Usually in my workshops I'd have like a flip chart and they'd be written down and it would be a lot easier, but you know, we're doing what we can, we're all working from home. So the first journaling prompt is, and you can write this down, when I like someone, I ... When I like someone, I ... The second one is when I date someone, I ... When I date someone, I ... Right. And with all of these, we're obviously going to fill in the blanks in a moment. The next journaling prompt is my relationships end because. My relationships end because. And with that, we're really looking for the common theme, right? Why do they usually? Next prompt, what I've noticed is. What I've noticed is. And finally, my biggest struggle in dating is. My biggest struggle in dating is. So ordinarily, at my workshops, I would be giving you some time to journal on this, and we'd share and we'd go through and we'd go around in a group and share what you've discovered. But this is a slightly different format today, so I'm actually going to move on. What I'd love for you to do though is, if you're watching this on the replay, is actually pause now and journal on those things before you go any further, because all of these steps are in sequence and they build on each other. So if you do the journaling after, it's kind of like you know how it all pans out. So I'd really love for you to pause now and do that journaling, okay? Now, assuming you've done that and you've come back, we are going to move on to step number 2. Step number 2 is, where did it come from? So now we know what is the pattern, we're going to look at where did it come from. So there's 2 different things I want to teach you on this before we go into the journaling prompts, and they are as follows. So there's 2 places where it comes from. One is that we learn and copy, family. And the second is that we experience, believe and act, which is trauma. And don't worry if I've gone through that quickly, because I'm going to break this down for you next. So we learn and copy, and that's family. What does that mean, we learn and copy? So you may have heard me say this before, I said this on a podcast recently, but we are not that different from the animals at all. In fact, it could be said that animals are a little bit smarter than us, because we as humans do things like destroy our habitat, and animals don't do that, so we're not really as smart as we think we are. However, that is beside the by and not the point, and not relevant. However, it is true. We are not that different from the animals in that if you've ever raised a dog or a cat or any kind of animal really, if you've had a puppy or a kitten and you've also had an older animal in the house, what you'll notice that they do is they take the lead from the older animal. So if you've got a kitten, they're looking at the older cat. If you've got a puppy, they're looking at the older dog. And what they're doing is the kitten's watching the older cat groom itself or catch a mouse. The puppy is watching the dog wag its tail and get ready to go for a walk, and it's going, oh, this is how we dog, this is how we cat, right? They're looking at the older animal for clues on behaviour, which is fine if you've got a very well-behaved pet. If you don't, then the kitten or the puppy will learn really naughty habits from your pet, which has happened to me. But we're not that different from the animals. When we're kids, I mean, I'm talking like young, like 18 months and below, we're looking around our environment to learn how to human, to learn how to adult, and we're trying to take cues from the people around us. And that's great when we're learning how to walk and talk and read and write and all that shit. But when we're learning about relationships, it's different. Especially if we're looking around a home where people are, you know, throwing things, shouting, arguing, being dysfunctional, stonewalling, not addressing things, not having healthy conflict resolution. We're looking around at this and we start to copy it, right? We learn it and we copy it. We model that behavior. There are a number of caveats to this. Sometimes we can do the opposite of what happened in our family home. So if our family home was very avoidant in conflict, like conflict wasn't really addressed, then we may then flip the other way and be super aggressive in addressing conflict, right? So sometimes we can flip it to the opposite, but it's going to be different for everyone. And I'm trying to give you the general theory rather than your personal situation. I'd really need to speak one-on-one to be able to do that, right? But we learn and copy, and that's from our family of origin. And if we have a family of origin where their relationships are dysfunctional, which most of us did have that, then we learn and we copy these dysfunctional patterns from our family. And the second thing was we experience, believe, and act. We experience, we believe, and we act. What does that mean? We experience something, so something happens which is traumatic, and traumatic can mean a number of different things. It doesn't have to be what we call in psychology a big T trauma. It can be a little t trauma, which means that it doesn't have to be something really big that you would necessarily even go to counselling for, but you would certainly experience something that had an impact on you in terms of how you relate to people. So let's say something happens, and maybe it's not even based on relationships. Something happens, like I was bullied at school. Let's use that as an example. So I experienced bullying. So that bullying made me believe a lot of different things about myself, right? The experience led to a belief. And the belief that it led to was a number of different things, but perhaps the most prominent was it's not okay to be who I am. It's not okay to be who I am. It's not okay to speak out, which with the work that I do, let me tell you, been quite a lot of work to get to this point. It led to this belief of like, it's not okay to be who I am. And so when I went to the act phase of this 3-phase process, when I went to act, how did I act when it came to relationships? How do I show up in the world? I showed up as someone who wasn't really me, right? I pretended to be someone I wasn't. I never would have believed it at the time. I didn't think that's what I was doing, but it was. Because I had this experience that made it very, very clear who you are is not okay. It led to a belief of who I am is not okay, therefore I have to hide who I am and be someone else to be safe. And then I acted in a way that was showing up as someone that wasn't genuinely me, hiding lots of different things about me, denying those different parts of me to myself more than anyone else, but showing up in a way that wasn't really authentic with who I am, right? So we experience, we believe, and we act. So I'm super conscious of time because I usually run these workshops for like 2.5 hours. So we're like absolutely motoring through this. If this is really fast, don't worry, you have this forever. And this is literally a decade of research in an hour. So it's a lot. It's a lot. So let's go to the journaling for step 2. So grab your journals. And the journaling prompts are as follows. Passionate about a journaling prompt. Absolutely fucking love it. Journaling prompts are: my family environment was... ... My family environment was. My parents were. My parents were... ... Fill in the blanks. In my family, I was. In my family, I was. And with all of these, by the way, there's no hard and fast rules of what you put after the dots. How you complete the sentence is up to you, and that's really the beauty of this. Whatever is meant to come through will, right? As someone who was looking into the psychology of this, if I was coaching you, I would guide you towards being really specific about relationships, but really you're journaling and it's your journal and it's your life and your psyche. So trust yourself and trust what comes through. 2 more prompts. As a child, I was. As a child, I was. And then finally, as a teen, I was. As a teen, I was. So with the as a child and as a teen, that's really going to give you some insights into your inner child and your inner teenager. If you don't know what I'm talking about with regards to the inner teenager, I talked about that on Joel Brown's podcast recently. So just put Joel Brown, Joel Brown, Joel Brown. Pop that into Spotify, Stitcher, whatever YouTube app you use, and the interview that I did with him will come up. It was really more of a conversation, you know. And I talk about the inner teenager at length there, and I think I've got a video on it somewhere. I will be referring to my YouTube at length because there's a lot of really, really good content on there that you can go through and dig into this in a lot more detail. I'm just trying to be really succinct today. So they are the journaling prompts for step 2. So we have covered what is the pattern and where did it come from. And now we've done that, we are going to talk about how to heal it. So you might be like, great, I know what the pattern is. I have an idea of where it comes from. And again, with those journaling prompts for step 2, pause it, do the journaling prompts, then come back, because then you're going to have the information you need for this next and final section. So how do we heal it? So what I'd usually do if we were in a workshop is ask you all, what are some ways that you can heal? And maybe I'll do that now. What are some ways that you can heal? And just have a think about that in your head. You can journal on it if you want. You can pause and you can journal. How do we heal? Like, what are some healing modalities? So for example, counselling would be one, right? What are some things that can heal us? It's really interesting. When I asked this question at a workshop in Bristol that I did, it was back in January now. I asked this question, it was really interesting what came through, because I was assuming people would say things like coaching, counselling, CBT, hypnotherapy, and people said things like journaling, meditation, exercise, nutrition, all those things really heal us and nourish us. I'm like, oh, that's actually a really beautiful perspective. So have a think about that, have a journal on it. And just for the sake of time and because of the medium that we are in right now, I'll give you some of the ways, some of the healing modalities that you can explore. Coaching is obviously one, counselling, hypnotherapy, EMDR, which is the eye movement thing, CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, NLP, all the acronyms. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, RRT, which is RRTT, rapid transformational therapy. So there are all those things. Healthy connection and partnership is actually a really good way that we can heal. It's not healing modality, but it's something that can really heal us when we're with people that are emotionally healthy. And it really reverses a lot of what we've been through, because we are able to see what a healthy relationship looks like. And often we need to do a lot of inner work to even be able to be in relationship with those that are emotionally healthy, because like attracts like, and we need to be emotionally healthy or on the journey to becoming that when we want to attract those people, right? Usually what I do in my workshops, because I'm literally working off the same workshop notes that I used at my most recent workshop, what we'd usually do now is a really beautiful group activity, and I usually do eye gazing. Now it would be really weird if I just like looked into the camera and just like looked at you. That would be really weird because we're just on video. So we're not going to do that. What you can do though, you know what, I didn't plan this, being spontaneous. You can do some mirror work. If you think this sounds like, what fresh hell is this? This sounds awful, then you probably need to do it more. So what we're going to do, and we're not going to do this now, you can do this after, or you can pause, or you can just forget I even said this and just move on with your life. But you're going to look in the mirror, you're going to set an alarm for in 2 minutes time, and you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to look into your own eyes. In the mirror for 2 minutes. And it's probably going to feel a little unusual, a little uncomfortable, but you're just going to look at your reflection and look into the eyes of your reflection for 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to give you that homework to do. Take it or leave it. And then when you've done that, I of course have some journaling prompts. Of course I do, queen of journaling prompts. The journaling prompts are really simple with this one, but really powerful. And the prompts are: I felt, I know, I will. I felt, I know, I will. That might not make a lot of sense right now, but when you've done the exercise, it will. I felt, and describe what you felt. I know. What do you know as a result of doing that exercise? What's the clarity you've got from that? And I will. What will you do as a result of that breakthrough? Okay. So, my loves, we've actually got to the end of the content, which is amazing. What I'd love to do is a couple things. First of all, I'll let you know how you can continue the journey, right? It's easy to watch one of these things and do it and be like, oh yeah, that was really good. One way you can continue the journey is I am doing a ton of podcasts at the moment, a lot of media, and I'm also putting content out on my Instagram every day. I'm committing to do that. Though it grieves me at times. I get to 8 o'clock at night, I'm like, shit, I need to post on my Instagram. I've committed to it. But what that means is there's new content coming out on my Instagram every day. So go to my Instagram, just put my name in there, or you can put my handle in, which is Cheryl J. Muir. So the same as it is on Facebook. And I also put out new videos on YouTube. And if you're watching the replay, you may be watching this on YouTube. So definitely subscribe. And there's new videos every Tuesday. So that's new content on Instagram every day and new videos on YouTube every Tuesday. So that's a way that you can really build on this and continue on this journey and continue to have it kind of top of mind and continue having this new information come in and build on it and learn from it. And of course, if you do want to go further, you can work with me privately, and the details are on CherylMuir.com. If you want to be extra, you can go CherylMuir.com/coaching. I actually just redid it yesterday. It's very, very neat and tidy. I'm very proud of myself. There's lots of different systems in terms of how you go through and book. It's smooth, it's perfect, it works so well. It makes me very happy, very passionate about a system. That's all set up there for you if that calls to you. You can also, if you so desire, if you are feeling like you need a lot of podcasts in your life, you've got a lot of time on your hands right now, you can put my name into your podcast app. So whether that is Spotify or the iTunes thing, you know, the purple thing that says podcasts on your iPhone, whatever that's called. Is that iTunes? Or is it just the Apple Podcast app? What's it actually called? I'm not sure. Let me know. I genuinely do not know. And I would show you my phone, but I'm obviously live streaming off my phone, so I can't do that. Yeah, you can just put my name into a podcast app and it'll come up with all the podcasts that I've done over the past couple of years, and you can dig in. There's loads of really good shit in there. So yeah, that's how you continue the journey. Let's also give a bit of context to this too in terms of why we're doing this, and then we're not done yet, by the way. You're not off the hook just yet. We've got a tiny nugget of wisdom coming up next. But what I want to say as well is why we're doing this. You might initially get into this work and want to do this for you and want to do it because you're in pain and you want to feel better, and that's great. But this has much larger ramifications than this, and the reason why we're doing this, and I think this is more significant now more than ever, is that the world is shifting and changing, and we all need to contribute. And it's very difficult for us to contribute when we have this inner experience, this inner turmoil that is really taking up all of our time and energy, and it's really painful. And once we clear that, we can then really contribute and help the world, right? It's also worth mentioning that when we do this, we are going to raise really conscious children who are self-aware, who are raised in a home where it's healthy and they have a model for healthy relationships, because they've got shit to do, right? I mean, our generation and the generation before, we've kind of fucked up. In many ways, we've done our best, but we've also kind of fucked up. And so our kids, they're going to come into a world where they've got a lot of work to do. And, you know, I really believe that work's being done now as well. And with what's happening, you know, with the pandemic, I think we're all waking up very, very, very quickly. I know you're already awake or you wouldn't be here watching this. But when we have kids, if we choose to have children, you know, we really need to just get out of their way. We need to get out of their way, and we need to just provide an environment where they can grow up and they can hit the ground running and do the work that they're here to do, because we really need them, right? They're not going to have time to be in therapy for 10, 15, 20 years. They've got shit to do. So it's our job to do our work and clean up our side of the street so that our kids can hit the ground running and do what they came here to do, right? There's going to be a lot of new souls coming in, and they're going to be our children, and they're going to help us. The next generation are really going to be amazing, right? We are getting there. We are doing this. We are shifting and changing. It's hard right now. I don't want to whitewash it. It's fucking hard, right? And we're going to get on the other side of this, and it's going to be better, right? It's going to be better. So 2 more things, and then you are free to go. What I'd love for you to do is to give me, or journal yourself, you can share in the comments if you would like. I'd like you to write down 2 things. One is your biggest takeaway from today, right? What's your biggest takeaway? What's the thing that came through, that was the clearest to you? What's your biggest takeaway from the workshop today? And the final element is action step. As a result of today, what action step are you going to take? What action step are you going to take? That could be as big as, I'm going to have a conversation with that person I've been meaning to have a conversation with. It could be, I'm going to do all these journaling prompts. I'm going to go through, I'm going to do them again. It could be, I'm going to go watch every YouTube video you've ever done, Cheryl, and absorb all of that. It could be any number of the above, right? But what's your biggest takeaway from today? What's like the key learning? And then what action step are you going to take as a result of that? Because it's great to know what you took away from it. It's great to know, oh, I had this moment of clarity and that's really beautiful. But without the action, it's not integrated into your life. And all integration means is you've learned the lesson, right? The biggest takeaway, you've learned it, and you are then choosing to do something with it. I don't know if you've ever met those people that read, like, they've read hundreds of self-help books, but they're actually in exactly the same place. We don't want that shit here, right? I'm not about that. That's not my jam. There's no point. There's no point. If that's you, just turn off the video now, like, move forward. Like, it's not going to help you to just consume so much personal development information and not actually taking action on it and not integrating it, right? So the action step piece is really, really important. I know I kicked your ass a little bit there, but it was important, I felt like. So that's everything. Yeah, if you want to reach out and, you know, connect with me, stay in touch, stay in my world, you've obviously got me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. My handles there are Cheryl J. Muir. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Cheryl Muir. And my website is cherylmuir.com. And if you have any questions, comments, queries, concerns, feedback, what have you, just pop them down in the comments, whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, and I will endeavour to respond. Why don't we close out with a little meditation? I just want to personally thank Lisa, who's been commenting all this time. Lisa used to be in one of my membership groups, and I've coached her, and she is wonderful. Mwah. I hope you're doing well, Lisa. I hope you're doing really, really great. So let's close out with a meditation, shall we? Let's have a quick slurp of my water. And I have no idea what we're going to do in this meditation, so we'll just wing it. Right, so when you're ready, allow your eyes to close. Taking a deep breath in and letting go. Another deep breath in and let go. Another deep breath in and let it go. Allowing all the information that we've learned today to marinate, percolate, make its way through. Allowing those lessons to crystallize and become clear and firm in our minds. And if we haven't already decided what action we'll take, just allowing that to firm up in our mind now and know that the answer will drop in, we'll know what to do. And I'd like you to repeat after me. If it's safe and you're comfortable to repeat out loud, you can. Otherwise, you can just do it in your head, in your mind's eye, in your mind's ear. I am worthy. I am good enough. I am worthy of love. I am healing. I am overcoming. I am opening up. I am softening. I am deepening my connection to myself, to my soul, to my heart, to my mind, to the earth, to the others here on this earth with me. I am connecting. I am reaching out. I am reaching up. I am growing. I am expanding. I am deepening. know who I am. I know what I desire. And I allow myself to receive that. Slowly closing that funnel, that crown at the top of your head, closing that up now. Knowing that any information you receive today, either consciously, unconsciously, energetically, or in any other way, that information is now going to make its way through your system, your psyche, your soul, your heart. Now command those roots to draw up from the center of the earth, up through those layers, back into the soles of your feet. Knowing you're always grounded below and connected above. Let's take a deep breath in here. Hold at the top. Exhale. Hold at the bottom. Breathing in normally now. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And look at that, we're right on time, we're right at the hour. Couldn't plan that if I tried. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much everyone for being here. I really hope that was helpful. Stay in touch, you know, stay on my socials, stalk me on the social medias. I've got loads of information out there, so just binge on that, watch it, let it transform you, absorb it. Yeah, and take care of yourself. You might feel a little bit tired, maybe a bit overwhelmed, a bit like, oh, a lot came through then. Just rest, take a nap, go for a walk if you're in a place where you are able to go for a walk. I know we're able to take one walk a day here. I actually haven't been doing that, though we've got a garden here, we're very lucky, but I'm going to go for a walk now, my daily walk, which will be lovely. So get some fresh air if you can. If for you that just looks like opening a window and you're able to do that, then get some air, right? Have a salt bath, have a hot bath, a bubble bath, journal, rest, sleep, eat. Whatever it is you need, give yourself what you need, right? That's part of this healing journey too. And what can be very healing for us is giving ourselves what we need. It can be very, very healing. Thank you all so much. Remember to connect with me on the socials. I'm Cheryl J. Muir on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And my website is cherylmuir.com. Love you guys. Take care.